Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, LarryWBrooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network Live. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, I invite you to do so, and you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, and I have a really exciting show planned for you all. But first, shout out to everybody that's checking us out live on YouTube and Facebook. Get involved in today's show. Leave myself or the Texas Real Estate King a relevant question in the comment section, and you never know, your question may very well be answered on today's show. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and a proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for tapping in with us this week, just like he does every week here on Prime Real Estate Network Live. And I'd like to introduce to the audience, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How are you?
Yo, what up, Rick? I am doing amazing, man. I cannot complain. You know, it's a beautiful day here in the great city in the state of Houston, Texas, surrounded by our rodeo that's currently taking place. So what can I tell you, man? It's an exciting time.
Now, look, every week I try to make sure I invite everyone in the audience to stop by the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center over here at 2600 South Loop West, Suite 310 in Houston, Texas. Now, you happen to mention a rodeo, Mr. Brooks. So for the members of our audience that don't reside here in the building or don't have an opportunity to come out to this area in and around NRG Stadium during rodeo time, could you talk about how the rodeo just changes the dynamic as far as the energy and everything around not only NRG Stadium, but the area over here around the Brooks and Davis Training and Education Center?
Yeah, the funny thing is the world has heard about the Texas rodeo because it stands out. But I don't even think the citizens of the Houston and surrounding area realize that the rodeo is one of our number one money-making fundraisers, as well as money-making city activities that we do year-round. We got the rodeo that runs in at first, and then we do this national energy thing. I can't think of what it's called right now. That's number two. But for the city of Houston, the rodeo is one of our most popular events. Of course, last week was the cook-off, which is the thing where you have a bunch of tents out. Everyone comes to different tents, have barbecue. Now they actually have shows that take place. So that's always been a long-lasting, standing opportunity, man. So people definitely should be able to tap into those things.
Outside of getting involved in all the rodeo activities, barbecue, cook-offs, etc., what's been going on this week in the world of the Texas Real Estate King?
Man, not much, man. We had a great weekend. For those of you that watch the show and keep up with the show, for those of you who don't, I'm going to say this: like, subscribe, tell someone to tell someone. Let's try to get this video up to 1,000 likes. You're going to love today's guest. But with answering your question, man, we had regionals. My son, for those that follow the show know my son is a power lifter. They had regionals this past weekend. We qualified to go to state again this year. This year we finished second in regional, but we qualified to again. We excited about it, man. Right now in the state of Texas, in the 275 class range, we're number 3. So, we're excited to be back on the big stage, and just excited to just be able to, continue to further the brand of powerlifting.
Nah, man, I appreciate that. Big, huge shout out, man. I want to give a congratulatory shout out to LB3, man. You know, it's kind of cool when you see a young person dedicated to their sport and you can actually measure the improvement and start to see where you stack up against the other people that are the best and brightest. So, big, huge shout out. No, this weekend, and I want to make sure I thank everyone in the city of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Me and the family had an opportunity to enjoy Mardi Gras weekend in Lake Charles this past weekend, man. So big, huge shout out to Mr. Michael McGowan, everybody over at Simpson and McGowan Studios, man. They rolled out the red carpet, man. Were very inviting to me and the family, man. Good. Big, huge shout out to everybody who had a chance to attend the State of Louisiana Gumbo Cook-Off and Championship. So, you know, they was giving out trophies, and I never had an opportunity to taste so many different gumbos from so many different establishments and vendors and chefs. So for me, that was a new thing. I had they had wild game. They had wild game gumbo out there. Now, you know, when they say it's wild game, Larry, it could be anything in the gumbo pot. I feel like if I'm gonna drive 2 hours for a gumbo cook-off, man, I couldn't leave any stones unturned. So
none unturned. No doubt about it.
Everybody out there, man.
Good. No doubt, man. Good. I can only imagine what was in that wild game, but you did right about tasting it, man. Don't leave nothing on the table when you're trying different gumbos, man.
Hey, look, man, you know, I had a great time, but I just wanted to share that. And for everybody who don't follow me on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick, follow me on Instagram. I'll be sharing those Mardi Gras pictures today after we finish this show today. So, Mr. Brooks, could you share a little bit about today's guest with our audience and how you were able to gain her commitment to come in and speak to us and be interviewed on the Prime Real Estate Network Live?
Definitely, man. I first want to truly thank today's guest for coming and showing up. I reached out to her. She was able to clear out her schedule for a few hours, for a few moments or a few minutes or a few hours here for us today, just so we can dive deep. I saw her doing some amazing things, and I just wanted to bring her in front of our audience, man, so that somebody's soul or somebody's student or somebody out there that may want to get involved with some of the things that she has going on. I thought she would be an ideal person for the show. Had the opportunity of meeting her a few months back. It was a celebratory evening. We were out, actually, I believe it was a real estate, Chris Synagogue, a past alumni of the Prime Real Estate Network, was celebrating his birthday. And it was an amazing event, man. And so had an opportunity of just fellowshipping with other people doing great things and in big spaces, man. So again, just happy to have her on the show today, and looking forward to call her a Prime Real Estate Network alumni as well.
Oh, no, man. I want to thank you so much for gaining her commitment, Larry. I know how passionate you are as being a part of the civic community and giving back. So this show, man, if you have a passion for philanthropy, if you are leading an organization, if you're leading a nonprofit, today's show and today's guest is for you. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. She is not only a highly talented visual performance artist, but she is also the founder of the artist activist platform, Radical Black Girl. I want to thank her so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network Live, and I'd like to introduce Miss Destiny Polk. How are you?
Woo. I just gotta hype myself up real quick because
I like it. We need one of those like that right there.
No, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. This is it's a really great opportunity to be here with you all today and all of the virtual listeners and viewers. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, man, we were really excited when we were able to have you commit to sitting in with us, because the Radical Black Girl movement is something that Larry and myself follow online. And it's our pleasure to put you in a position to bring your vision and your brand to our audience. So for those members who are being introduced to you for the first time, Destiny, could you just talk a little bit about yourself and the Radical Black Girl movement?
Yes, of course. What's going on? The World Wide Web. My name is Destiny Polk, founder of Radical Black Girl, lifelong creative multimedia storyteller and producer. What can I say? My background is in performance art with a focus in arts advocacy and activism. And I built my platform 8 years ago. So I put in some time, and it has grown into a movement that is beyond me. And the purpose is to create opportunities for Black creatives specifically supporting work that addresses social change and creating those connections between young talent, young Black talent, with cultural producers like museums, educational institutions, nonprofits. The opportunities are really endless in terms of where our stories are needed, and just, you know, advocating for that value to be compensated for fairly.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing so much. And I want to ask you, when you think back to the initial idea for Radical Black Girl, could you just share with our audience a little bit about what you were doing before you stepped out on faith, made that transition? And how long was that something that you thought about? How long was it a passion project? Could you just talk a little bit about your life before and after RBG?
Yeah. So Radical Black Girl, I actually started it while I was in college. Shout out to Wesleyan University in Connecticut, liberal arts school.
Shout out.
But actually, the inception of Radical Black Girl started in Houston. So I came to Houston for winter break that year, and I think I was going through a lot. Sometimes the most pivotal moments in our life come out of grief. So I lost my great grandmother that year, and experienced a lot of loss. And so I went through this kind of season of depression, of darkness, so kind of what the cocoon season when a butterfly goes in, you know. And so I was experiencing that, and I used journaling and visioning and manifestation a lot as a tool for my healing and thinking about what next. So I came to Houston, I'm journaling and visioning, like, what do I want to do? I want to start this platform. I want to become a new person. Who is she? What does she look like? How does she sound? How does she make people feel? And so I started to vision this idea of Radical Black Girl. And I'm like, okay, she's audacious. She's unapologetic. She's empowered. She makes people feel inspired. What does she look like? And then it started off as a blog. So I used to interview young Black artists about, what does radical self-expression mean to you? What does radical self-love look like? What does radical self-knowledge look like? And so it started from there, and it just continued to grow into live showcases and open mics, performances, and leveraging, which is a word that I know that y'all are very familiar with in real estate, right? But I leveraged the connections that I had with the artistic community that I was a part of, and leveraged the professional connections that I had. I worked at a theater for some time, and so kind of planted seeds and invited some of the main leadership from the theater, like, you all should come to my community art showcase called The Medicine at the time, which was all about hip hop culture being the medicine to social ills, right? Like, that's how it was created for our healing. And so I invited them there, and they saw hundreds of people came out. It was a big thing in the community. And that was the seed planted of, like, I want to bring this to your theater and elevate this experience on a whole nother level for artists that may have never had a professional production with a full lighting team and full sound production and full stage behind them. And that show was called Resistance. And that kind of really solidified my platform as one that created opportunities for artists who are now Grammy nominated, who have gone on to do amazing things across the country. So that's kind of where it started. And I actually, the leap of faith, I ended up leaving school, take a semester off to, you know, focus on my mental health and be present for my family. And that semester turned into now 7 years, because I just ended up going straight into my career and building Radical Black Girl and turning it into a platform where I was traveling nationally, collaborating with organizations producing events and films. So it just kind of took off, and I just said, well, I'll go back to school when things slow down, and things didn't slow down. So I just kind of kept going.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned that is so really impressive, and I want to make sure I illustrate this for our audience, is that artistry and activism have gone hand in hand since the beginning of the beginning. But what you've been able to do is actually be able to meld in a business aspect, an entrepreneurial aspect that had to be intentional. But I want to ask you, was there a mentor, was there someone in the artist community or in the activist community that may have shown you a blueprint on how to meld the business practices with it? Because what you've been able to build, not only here in Houston, but here in Boston, is something I'm sure so many artists would love to emulate. But sometimes the creativity and the passion sometimes gets in the way of the organization needed to make those tough decisions to put promotions in place, productions in place. Where do you think that came from as far as helping you to lead your organization?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And as you're asking, I'm thinking about a teacher and mentor. Her name is Farai Williams from Boston. She was my teacher. I was a part of an organization called Highways into Power History. Hold on. Project Hip Hop. It was called Project Hip Hop. Hip hop stood for something. It's been a minute. Oh, okay. Highways into the Past, History, Organizing, and Power. So shout out to Project Hip Hop, and also shout out to City Spotlights. Those were two organizations that I participated in as a young person. So teenager into going, moving into young adulthood. And those two organizations and the teachers I had, like Farai, they taught about art advocacy. I didn't even know that was a thing, right? They taught about. I didn't either, yeah. Yeah, they taught me about using art as a way to confront reality, as a way to interrupt people's daily lives, to shed light on things that often go unnoticed or unspoken. And so witnessing her and her pedagogy is what she would say. And then also shout out to Urban Bushwomen. I was a part of their intensive as well. And they have a framework that speaks a lot about educating communities about racism and using the tool of dance and performance as a way to do that. So I think I've just been really fortunate to learn from veterans who have been dedicating their lives to art advocacy, and seeing them like form their own companies, lead their own nonprofits, turn that into curriculum that can be supported from on a city level, right? Receive funding to do that. And so I took notes. I incorporated it into my life, into my personal mediums, and through Farai, like I was able to lead my own artist residencies. I've led residencies. I've been paid as a young person to come in and teach choreography and performance. One of my first real professional jobs was being a dance teacher, where I then took all of the things that I learned and taught those things to my students. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. There's a lot of different things, but so many different inspirations that have led me to know that it's possible to do what I do.
That's pretty amazing. So let me ask you this, because I'm so you're originally from Houston, and then you went to Boston for college, or? Huh?
No, I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Okay. My dad, shout out to Johnny Polk. He's from Houston, so all of my dad's family lives here in Houston. Yeah, so that's why I say I'm an honorary Houstonian, because half my family.
Yeah, because I can just imagine growing up in the Boston area, because Boston has not always been kind or friendly to to our culture, I would like to say. And so even when I visit, sometimes it's a stalemate. It may just be the locations that I'm in, but just to have that they had a brand of hip hop and being able to put something together like that, that's amazing to me. So it's really shocking to me as I hear you talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know the rich Black history that is in Boston and how deep it goes back, all the way back to Phyllis Wheatley, the first published Black poet, was an enslaved person in Boston who has a statue, to Harriet Tubman coming through Boston. MLK met Coretta in Boston.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Malcolm X grew up in Boston from the time he was maybe like 8 to 18. His house still stands in Boston. So anytime somebody asks me about the city that I'm from, I make sure I let them know, hey, I know my Black history, and we have a lot of.
You got that's some good rich history, man. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's good. Okay,
that's awesome. Destiny, I want to ask you, because there are going to be some radical Black women that see this interview that are raising radical Black girls. So how does becoming a part of your movement, being a part of your online tribe, what does that look like, feel like? How can members of our audience tap in with you? Because the thing that you're doing with dance and activism, it appeals to not only the generation of moms, but the dance appeals to the generation of daughters. So for those members of our audience that's like, oh, this is outstanding, I want to tap in, become a part of what she's doing, what does that look like online, websites, IGs, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I know it says, follow Des the Connect, but you also can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Radical Black Girl. I believe Facebook is like RBG Tribe, but if you search it, Radical Black Girl, it'll come up. My website is actually under construction. I have a new intern who wanted to take on the project of redoing the online community. So that's something that we're working on. So right now, it's just, tapping in with me on Instagram. I do respond to DMs. And I do love to collaborate with people I have a few different media partnerships. Shout out to the SAID Institute in Houston, Texas. So I'm always showing up at different events. I might be doing live interviews at events or having pop-ups. So there's always opportunities to, tap in with me in person. I'm usually speaking on a panel somewhere and then, talking with people in person, which is my favorite thing to do. And I'll be launching an online community again soon where we'll be able to tap in virtually. And then Radical Black Girl meetups coming to Houston soon, where we'll actually be calling Radical Black girls and women to come together, as well as Radical Black creators. Because, it's not just for women and girls, but I do love to celebrate us and put us at the forefront of the movement, because we're often, what do they say? The Black woman is the least protected, right? And Black girls are sometimes the underdogs of the world. So just to invite our brothers and allies to also join the movement as well, say you are a part of this as well.
Okay. Mr. Brooks can definitely speak to this because he's an avid traveler as well as myself, is that as we get into the spring months, all those part of the country that have been dealing with those colder temperatures, winter time, ice, slush, they're going to start to awaken.
Right.
with that energy that comes with the springtime. So for those members of our audience that would love to meet, greet, interact with Ms. Destiny Polk in person, what do you have going on during the spring part of this year? Are there any events that you're heading up? Where can we in the Prime Real Estate Network audience try to come out and meet you in person?
Yes, you know what? You are so good at this, and I see why. But I actually I'm co-producing a 2-day conference in Boston called The Connect. It's in collaboration with an organization called the Secret Society of Black Creatives. And so Radical Black Girl is doing activations throughout the whole weekend. So the purpose is to create connections across the entertainment industry. So whether you're just a beginner or you're more seasoned as a professional, whether that's in music, film, dance, performance, wherever you find yourself, I'll be co-producing workshops and also co-producing a benefit showcase. So I'm bringing Resistance back, kind of calling on past artists that I've worked with, bringing them back to Boston on one stage and raising funds for a future performing arts center in the heart of the city. And so, yeah, it's meaningful. It's a full circle moment for me as a performance artist who has done so much in my hometown. So just to be able to go back and do something specifically to raise funds and awareness for future generations to be able to have a space to perform and go off and do great things. So that's coming up in April. So I'm in the crunch time of working between time zones and making sure all that is set up while still holding things down in Houston.
And Miss Destiny, and this is at the risk of asking you something that I didn't prepare you to answer, but I want to ask you this: have you had an opportunity to get involved in the local dance scene with all your experience and know-how? And because Larry is the boy dad, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I haven't had an opportunity to really be around someone like yourself who's so knowledgeable as far as the dance thing. So how is it in Houston for someone like yourself that's classically trained? Have you been able to get your fingertips involved in that aspect of the city?
That's a great question. And it's funny that you say you didn't plan to ask that. But so actually one of my first dance teaching opportunities in Houston was teaching at the Shape Center in 3rd Ward. So I taught at the Shape Center. Shout out to Brother Delory Parker. I appreciate him for, opening his doors and the opportunity to work with the young people there. So that was my first teaching job here in Houston. And then I've also just had the opportunity to meet a lot of great professional dancers. I also was a dancer for Toby and Wigway. So I was a Black Angel. So that's why I was like, I don't do.
Come on, see, we get her to talking, we get more gems coming up out of here. That's what's up. Wow.
Yeah. See, Larry, people call me too nosy, man. I thank you so much for helping me out.
Yeah, so I was a dancer for Toby and Wigway. I was in maybe 10 or 11 of his music videos. So just being in, so I can say that I was in a video with CeeLo Green. I've been in a video with Pharrell. Shout out to Coast Contra that all came to Houston for his project, the Moments album. So yeah, just being on a set of, his sets are huge. If you've seen his videos and his productions, like 50 plus people, I learned a lot about what it takes to be an independent artist, directing, producing your own work, and what it takes to be a part of a large ensemble, because you're a part of someone's larger vision, but you have, you own your space within that. So dancing in Houston, I guess when God moves in my life, he shows up and he shows out. So there were just moments where I was just like, wow, like these are moments I prayed for, and I get to, it was a moment where, people back home can still see that I'm in a different place, but still reaching. So
yeah.
Wow. Now I have to fulfill all of my promises. And we talked before we went live that we'll give you an opportunity to represent the merch. So the tee that we flossing today, get the flex on. Let's show Larry the tee. What we got, the Black Women Lead Better. Come on, Brooksy. That's it right there. Represent.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what that slogan means to you? Can you talk a little bit about what the slogan means to you, why you're so impassioned, and why you represent that t-shirt so well?
Yeah, Black Women Lead Better. I actually made this specifically for a Black Women in Leadership event at the SED Institute. That was a few months ago. I think that was in the end of October. So I made it specifically in celebration of that. But also it was right before the election. So Kamala was still in running, for presidency. And so I just said, well, this would be the best time to have a statement like this.
That was smart. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's just, it is exactly what it says it is. Black women are just leading in this country in so many ways in terms of their levels of education, heights that they've been able to achieve. as CEOs, as mothers, teachers, doctor, everything, the highest courts, so I just, Black women lead better, and we should continue to have opportunities to do so and not be discredited because of our Blackness or because of our womanness.
No, man, thank you so much for being so transparent and honest about what motivates you and your why. I think that energy is what the members of our audience are going to gravitate towards. So I want to thank you so much, Queen, for carving some time out of your busy schedule to sit in with Larry and myself. And before we sign off this week, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share your Instagram handles and everything as far as any contact info you'd like to provide to our audience before you sign off.
So please follow Radical Black Girl on Instagram at Radical Black Girl, all one word, just how it's spelled. You can also connect with me personally on my personal IG, which is at the bottom, that's the Connect. And I am your connect for all things multimedia storytelling and digital and print publishing. I own a publishing company called Destined to Shine Publishing. So if you're interested in learning about how you can publish your own book and get your book on platforms and in stores, you can reach out to me at Just the Connect.
There you go. Appreciate you so much. That in there. Oh no, that's perfect, man. I want to thank you so much for sitting in. Larry and I, man, we're super stoked to know that you were going to be able to sit in on the platform this week. And if you ever have an opportunity, please come back in. You have a seat with us anytime. Keep us updated with everything that's going on with Radical Black Girl. And thank you so much. And we want to wish you the best of luck and all the blessings that you can have coming to you.
Oh, I receive it. Thank you so much for thinking of me, Larry. I appreciate you reaching out. This has been a great start to my day. Thursdays are my favorite day of the week. So thank you all.
No, yes, thank you so much.
And of course, as you get to putting out things, make sure you tag me in it. I love to share it, continue to help you build out the brand. And thank you so much for being so kind and taking us up on this. And I appreciate and all the wisdom that you shared with our guests today.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to watching it. So I can go on YouTube and it's going to be there.
It's going to be on YouTube. Yes, indeed.
All right.
Talk to you soon. Appreciate it, Queen.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace. See, Larry Brooks, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's how you set a Thursday off. And we always talk about how Thursday is the getaway day, man. So we can brighten up a Thursday, man. We making it happen, brother. How you feel about that interview? What stuck with you as far as Ms. Polk?
You know what? The ability to just, go through something and then be able to formulate it and then be able to manifest it into the vehicle that she has, man. Like, that's something that's unspoken of. People don't understand how difficult that can be, but when you're able to pull it off and be successful at it the way that she has been is amazing, man. And I have an opportunity of following her on social media, so I see all of the big things that she's doing, and it's very, very much appreciated. So I advocate for our audience to definitely go follow her, reach out to her. Those of you that have daughters or people that are in the music and in the arts, you definitely want to tap in. It's an opportunity to just see something different, be a part of something different and bigger than what we have. So bigger than what's going on in this world. So definitely tap in with her.
No, that's super duper real, brother. Before we sign off this week, man, what's going on this weekend in the world of the Texas Real Estate King? Anything may happen when the sun is out and the sky is blue. So what you got going this weekend, my brother?
The funny thing is, I'm just looking forward to spring back or spring forward, whatever it is, when we get more daylight savings, man. So I'm excited about that. I like it. I don't like it to get dark to about 8:30. Like, I need my time. So that's it, man. Other than that, I'm just working.
Okay, now look, I never asked you this on live before. So now look, as we talked about with Miss Destiny Polk, man, we getting to get into the springtime, man. It's starting to warm up. We talking about spring break, summer. Now, what are we doing right now as far as the fitness regimen? Where are we at? What we got going? We still doing 3 times a week, 4 times a week? What we got going as far as fitness, lifestyle, and wellness?
Come on, man. You know me. I'm locked into it, man. Especially when it get these warm months get to coming back, man. So I'm up at 4 a.m, getting my gratitude in, and then I'm in the gym by 5:30. You know what I'm saying? Sweating it out, getting ready. So my regimen is consistency, and everyone's regimen, if they're trying to make an impact on what they got going on, it starts with just being consistent, man. So you just got to find what works for you. And if it's 3 days a week, take those 3 days and be serious about them. So for me, I'm definitely serious about it, man. I like to be able to be a guy that can go to the beach, go to the pool, and pull his shirt off. And not just pull his shirt off, but you know what I'm saying? It's entertainment that comes along with it.
Oh, man. And see, I had heard a vicious rumor, man, that you were still swimming in pools with T-shirts on. See, I'm glad to know that rumor is not legitimate and false, man. So big, huge shout out to you. Big, huge shout out to everybody at the gym, all of the people that train with you, man, the trainers that you work with. Because
what's your workout look like, though? Because my trainers are intense. I'm going to tell you, like, they making sure results take place. What's your regimen look like, man? What you got?
Right now I'm doing 3 times a week in the weight room, couple days a week with just cardio, man. Started off doing some body weight exercises, burpees, ab circuits, stuff like that. But, the past maybe 60 days, 90 days, been getting back as far as free weights, weight room, and some machine training, man. So, we getting it going, brother. We getting it going.
No doubt, man. I try to tell people, the thing is as we age, we can't get fearful of making sure that we lift weights, man. So because that still defines the body, and then that still builds and strengthens the bone structure that we need as we get into more of our season years. So definitely don't run from that gym, and definitely find a way to get that cardio in. It helps keep that heart pumping and circulating the way that it needs to.
Hey, man, y'all listen to the Texas Real Estate King, because we don't want to see none of you boys hurting y'all back trying to take the Christmas tree down in December, man. Look, tell them, Larry, you got to at least have 50 pounds for the Christmas tree, my dude. So look here, my guy. Hey, look, I want to thank everybody in the Prime Real Estate Network audience for tuning in this week on behalf of myself, Ric Davis, and the Texas Real Estate King, man. Until next Thursday here in the noon hour, we hope everyone in the audience is safe and everyone out there be blessed.
Be blessed.
No doubt.